I guess just how's the first few days gone? What are you seeing out there? You got a good room, seems like.
Yeah, no, really pleased with the quarterback room. We got some good additions with Walker and Ed, just to add into just the competition of the entire room. But just speaking of the quarterbacks, I just think that that we're so far more advanced to where we were at this point last year, which makes things a lot better. And uh, just kind of with the installs, like we're on day 3, and we've already got like probably about 90% of the really kind of all situational in the entire playbook in, which is pretty crazy to say. If you asked me last year at this point, like I had like 4 concepts in, and we were just trying to get better at it. But just year 2 is always so much better just as a unit, and I think we're getting more competitive in practice. We're still trying to work on depth, and we don't have as many numbers, but we're just going to keep finding those issues and solve them throughout the course of this spring. But really pleased with where the offense is at right now.
Hey, you're talking about depth across the
Yeah,
board,
depth across the
not
board.
just quarterback. You're talking about depth
Yes,
across
across the board. From O-line, we're still trying to find that, 6th, 7th guy. You lose a guy like Campbell Barrington, which is going to be a tough loss, but, it's going to add, Siraki's in there right now running with the ones, which, he did a lot of that last year too. But who's going to be that next guy in from there, and that's what we're working for. And then receiver position, you have, with Cole and Kobe coming in as 2 transfers to add to some depth, and we're moving them in inside receivers and outside receivers, and Jaden Porter stepping up and doing a lot of good things. We got some freshman mid-year guys that are exciting to watch, and young, and just still learning it and figuring it out, and they get better every single day. So we're still trying to find some depth there as well. And also, with losing Gavin Yates, we need to find who's going to be another tight end in the game. So it's like really every single position. We have some solid, players in those spots, but it's also we got to provide some depth and see who's going to step up from there.
On the quarterbacks, is Sawyer coming in this year? Have you noticed a change in him now that maybe there's less of a competition for the starter at least?
Yeah,
how has he changed at all, if at all?
Yeah, no, he knows it's his team, and he's doing a great job with it. He really is. He's trying to take that leadership role over. Last year at this point, he was just trying to win the quarterback competition, and now he's put together a pretty solid year. He knows what he needs to improve. Individually. Things that we've challenged him with to see if we can evolve his game a little bit. But where you notice him the most is just the leadership role that he has. And he's doing a great job of just motivating the young guys and just being around and helping the other quarterbacks out, and like letting them pick his brain as well. It's been fun to watch just from a maturity standpoint and a leadership standpoint of Sawyer.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, what are some aspects offensively that you want to keep from last year? Or what are some aspects that you want to change going into this year?
Yeah, that's kind of a tough question too, but we're trying to figure out our personnel is really what it is. I think when you have a guy like Michael Trigg in the game, that's a little bit unique of the tight end position. You guys saw him last year and the catches he make and how dynamic he is. But when you put in other guys, you got to figure out what they're capable of. I think Klopp is doing an unbelievable job as well, and just elevating his play. So we're trying to figure out just kind of like when we have certain personnel in, what are their strengths and what can we rely on there. A lot of that too is like speed. Who's going to have the guys with speed? I know what Josh Cameron's about. Josh Cameron's got pretty good twitch and some decent speed, but he can also body people. But then you get Ashton and Cole and Kobe. They're a little bit smaller bodies. They got to use their speed and get open from there. So we're still just trying to figure out our guys right now. But there's a lot to improve on. I thought there was a lot of just really self-inflicted wounds. We did a study on ourselves when we stalled out. Really on drives, it was a lot of self-inflicted things, like penalties and maybe snap issues or just miscommunication or busted routes or drop balls, simple execution. And my challenge with them right now is if we could just worry about, cleaning those things up, we could end up, being a lot better than what we were if we just kind of clean up the little things of just the simple execution, post-snap penalties, things of that nature. So, but I do think that they've got a pretty good vibe of how the offense is and how we can play with the tempo and we can spread it around. I think that Sawyer is getting very good with his checks. I'm giving him a ton of freedom right now, which is fun to watch because he's learning that sometimes it's too hard to do and he's taking too long to do certain things. But that's just the trial and error of what you do in spring. But just collectively as a whole, we got to just keep getting better and working on ourselves.
How much of a leap do you expect even in the spring for the younger players, and how do you even quantify that from start to end?
Yeah, it's a different, not very many freshmen we've kind of looked at it across like the entire country. Actually played, like there was the receiver at Ohio State, the receiver at Alabama, dynamic guys that could play, but like those guys just kind of like were very, very special players. We got some special guys too, but we're kind of kind of just easing them into this situation. They still should be finishing up their spring semester of high school and going to prom here in a couple months. So, instead they're in a heated blitz period right now, and they're getting jump jammed and trying to figure out new techniques and the speed of the game. And I think what I've seen is them progressing each day, like from where they're at day one. Like, they're excited to be out there. Day two, they're running a lot, and their legs were starting to hurt a little bit, and like weren't as fast. And today they had great energy and juice when they're out there, and they got better. And I just want to see them continue to get better and make plays. They actually made a lot of plays. I don't know if you guys are watching the end of that practice today, but those young receivers were making some pretty dynamic plays today.
How big was it to get Ashton Hawkins back for another season?
Yeah, Ashton, I feel like I've known him for like 15 years now, all the way back with the Texas State days. But yeah, Ashton, I'm excited for him, man, because you guys seen what he's capable of doing. I've known him for a long time, since my days at Texas State, and just that kind of leadership role that he has. And it's really a comfort for me as well, because I know what he's capable of doing, and he can play inside and outside. I got to watch him a little bit, because he'll sub himself into different positions when he knows the play is going to be targeted to him. But that's what makes him fun to coach. And he's got a lot of great things ahead of him, and I think just with that depth at the slot, that allows for these other guys to compete to try to figure out where we can move them around, because he has that flexibility of moving in and out. So, if we feel like our top four receivers, are more maybe inside driven, then we can move him to the outside and let him play more there. But excited to have him back.
When we talked to Coach Aranda, he had good things to say about Ed. What has he brought, and how has he stood out early?
Yeah, Ed's great. Just his approach. I think great quarterbacks are obsessed with the game, and he's obsessed with football. He wants to know everything. And for his age, and at this point, this is the most I've ever put on a quarterback. Just because, you try to ease him into it and call base plays because of the speed of the game, and it's moving a little bit faster. Got over that real quick in day one, and knew that I can throw a lot of his plate. I've been throwing him in there with the ones just to give Sawyer rest. Like all the quarterbacks are going with the ones, but he handles it well, and he's doing great. And the thing I know, there's a consistency with him that I appreciate. He's always going to show up. He's going to keep working. He's going to be up here on his off day, working out, watching tape, everything. He's just completely obsessed with the game, and he's making everybody else too in our room get better too.
How much more comfortable as a play caller will you be with so many returning starters?
Ed, it really starts up front. That's where the most impressive thing, I think that happened to us last year was just what Mason Miller's done with that O-line, and there was a lot of moving parts early. We had to move guys around, and it's a process, you just got to figure it all out. And I thought Mason does a really good job at putting those guys in the right spot, where I think one of the hardest things to do in football is get five guys to play and think alike and step alike and do everything. And that first group is getting pretty good right now. And that's really stems everything. So that's where I get comfortable, is when I know that the O-line can really they're going to have good protection. They're going to be ID'd correctly. I know we can establish a line of scrimmage. We can run the football. Makes it a lot easier, to call plays when that O-line's running well. And it's just a testament to what they're doing. So from a comfort level, it's always great when the O-line's it's pretty solid.
Is there a specific area where Sawyer either needs to or can get better from a year ago?
Yeah, there's a lot. We've talked about our field throws. I want to do more, down the field throws with him. He did a really good job at the end of the year checking and taking some vertical shots and having a lot of success with them, especially in the Kansas game, and he got some in the LSU game as well. But we want to see some of the vertical throws, and to the field. He's really good at some things. I was kind of a little cautious with him last year, and I didn't want to throw too many to the field. But we're testing his arm strength a little bit. But more than anything, it's the management of the game, the down and distance, and the checks that he's getting into, because I'm giving him a ton of freedom. And there's a trial and error with that. But it takes a lot of time. He meets with me all day, and that's something that we got to continue to do, because year two with quarterbacks, I've had some pretty good ones, like Geno Smith's year two and Will Greer's year two. Those guys, they normally take off, and you got to really challenge them, but you also got to give them the freedom to get us in the right play and do what they believe is right. So that's what I got to keep challenging him and keep working with Sawyer, is his checks at the line and his vertical throws to the field.
But you kind of talked on the rest of the quarterback room. What sort of steps did Nate Bennett take last year? And then also, how important was it to get someone like Walker with that experience and
Yeah.
all that?
No, starting with Nate, like I love where Nate is, and like Nate's been with me for a year now, so he knows all the checks. He's getting better at that. I'm really confident with Nate in the game, because like it's just I've worked with him for a year. I know what he's going to do. He can throw a really pretty ball, and he can get it out. The thing with Nate that we just keep working on, I'm gonna put him in drop back situations because he is a little bit smaller of a quarterback, but I've coached small quarterbacks, but it's about his arm angles and how he can get it out and find those voids. And he did a really good job today. So like Nate, just his experience of being here has been fun to watch. And still got a lot of work to do, but he's going to show up every day too. Like I really love the quarterback room, man. Like it's to the point where I got to send them home and get them away from me at times because they're up here all the time, and it means a lot to them. And with the addition of Walker's done a great job as well. And a very talented kid. He's big, he's strong, he can throw the ball a mile pretty much, and he's just a really athletic kid. And he's been in a similar offense to what we've done, so he knows how to communicate and operate it. He's still just trying to figure out me a little bit more, and he made some really good plays today too, like some deep throws that we got him moving the ball, had a touchdown drive. So he's getting better every single day. It's a fun deal to watch the success of these quarterbacks because of the amount of time that they put into working at it. So it's going to be fun. It's great competition. So like we'll see where it really ends up here. Still got a lot more to go too now.
Coach, you kind of touched on it with Sawyer last year, trying to figure out if he was going to be the starter or not. You were exploring the offense. Now that everything's kind of set in place, how much have the expectations risen for this year?
Yeah, like I try not to put too many expectations on ourselves. Like I'm always about just the process of things. Like we're a different team than what we were last year. There's new personnel, there's new leadership, there's new just bodies everywhere, and we've got to like start back over again and take the momentum of what like they already know, but we got to keep working on ourselves. And I think when you start putting that like pressure on yourselves and expectations, I think they start pressing a little bit. Like where like they just need to keep focusing right now in spring. We still don't play for another 5 months, and we just need to keep focused on us and getting better.
When you think of some of those great quarterbacks that you've coached, what are some similarities between them and Sawyer?
I think the intelligence side of it all. Like when Case Keenum was at like where I really learned quarterback play at Houston, like you could literally just call a formation and Case could get you in the right play. And I challenged Gino with that, and Will Greer, and even Brandon Whedon and a lot of guys over the years. And that's what I'm doing with Sawyer. Like I'm letting him check, I'm letting him call, and that's what I see the similarities with him is that he's starting to understand, hey, we got a light box, I can check a run, I can maybe get it to a pass on these, or I got soft leverage, let me take an easy take. He's just so far more advanced and comfortable in the system. So as a coach, I got to find ways to challenge him more. That's why I'm trying to get these vertical throws down the field into the field side instead of the boundary a little bit more, and just keep challenging him on like the right checks and understanding down and distance and make sure he's doing the right thing. But like I don't like to compare quarterbacks, that I've had in the past, because I think Sawyer is, just turning into his own man, and he's making a name for himself in the style of play that he has. So it's fun to watch him develop right now.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.